Welcome back, everyone. President Bola Tinubu has commended the Implementation Committee on the Naira-based sales of crude oil and refined products and asked the members to resolve any teething problems. In a review meeting at the State House in Abuja, the president said using the Naira was conceived to remove the exchange rate hurdle. And the president says whatever solution we prefer in crude oil and refined product sales in Naira should not take us back to our experience in the last 40 years. There can be cost and revenue adjustments in the oil sector, but the issue is that the government will not have to go back to the old way of doing things. He said the various players in the oil sector, including the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited and the Dangote refinery, should work to improve the economy and the livelihood of Nigerians. The president urged stakeholders to look inward and consider supplying enough petrol and petroleum product for local consumption to stop this persistent reliance on importation. The vision of Mr. President is to turn Nigeria into a hub for refined product to export to the world. And according to him, all the issues must be resolved without future waste of time. Tonight, let's speak with Dr. Kaide Okwefa, is Executive Director, Center for Sustainable Mobility and Access Development. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Welcome to Politics Tonight, Dr. Okwefa. Thank you so much for joining us on Politics Tonight. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening to you. So let's start from the basis, because many Nigerians thought that with the final completion of the Dangote refinery, our lives would be easier. Though some industry experts tried to prepare our minds for the unexpected, but many Nigerians thought, it can't be that bad. But looks like the Dangote refinery is here and the issues are compounding. What exactly is wrong?
Thank you. I think the first thing is to appreciate the intervention of Mr. President and commend the committee set up to look into these teething issues. And it seems the President is satisfied with the level of work done. Now, what is the current situation? It is misconception in the public space that when Dangote refinery comes into play, the prices, the pump price of crude, the PMS, will come down. A lot of players in the industry knows this will be true, provided the price we're paying at the pump price it reflects the actual market price. But that was not the case. To some extent, the NNPC had been doing under recovery. And even beyond that, as long as the volatility in the forex market continues, the price too is not expected to be fixed. And that is the essence of the Petroleum Industrial Act 2021 and the essence of the regulation. What the Dangote refinery or local refinery in the PMS sector is expected to assure us is local refining capacity, that we will have availability of this product, and there will be adequacy of this product, and that to a reasonable extent, there wouldn't be price fluctuation beyond control because there will be competition. So I personally, from understanding, knows quite well that the issues are issues of trust between stakeholders in the downstream sector. It is an issue of inadequate collaboration. It is an issue of people trying to exercise their own might, control in an area that national interest should be paramount. But the president had come out clean, and he has made it clear. National interest is of utmost importance. Market forces must be allowed to take on the commercial dealings, and the interests of Nigerians must be put at high esteem, while the interest of all stakeholders is also paramount.
Yes, the president has spoken, but many Nigerians are still very concerned about this unspoken conflict between Dangote and oil marketers. You've just talked about inadequate collaboration. But if Dangote is saying I have about 500 million liters in my tank. Why are IPMAN members still having challenge accessing this product? Is it related to breakdown in communication or supply chain issues?
Now, another area that we need to address based on the question you asked is the communication. And I think the media too will take some heat in this area. There are major marketers in this industry. That is the MEMAN, Major Energy Marketing Association of Nigeria, and there's also the depot owners, DAPMAN. IPMAN and Petroan are not major marketers. So their problem is different from the problem of DAPMAN and MEMAN. NNPC is another player in the market where there are two regulators. For the downstream, you have NMDPRA, and for the upstream, you have NUPRC. Now, the issue of IPMAN is they need to moderate their communication. They need to understand there is a need to actually collaborate and interrogate what is the situation. Their situation is peculiar. They don't have the capacity of MEMAN, they don't have the capacity of DAPMAN. They have more retailers than any of these two put together. However, this business dealing with Dangote has to be dealt with in bulk. That is why they have gone to form a new company with which they will deal. Now, the complaint they have should be understood. The ideal thing within the supply chain and logistics framework is for IPMAN to pick its product from the major marketers, as it has always been done before. But when there was scarcity, you will see that the major marketers will focus more on their own retailers at the expense of the IPMAN members. That is why IPMAN is asking that they too wants to be a direct off-taker. It's not going to be easy. The best approach is to put proper logistics system in place where Dangote refinery or any of these modular refineries, especially Dangote refinery, should move products from Ibejuleki by vessels to the depots, wherever they are. You have them in Ogara, Delta, you have them in Calabar, you have in Port Harcourt, you have in Warri, you have in Lagos, you have in Ejigbo, you have in Apapa, you have in Ijegun. Let them move by vessel to these places so that it will be easy for all off-takers to pick product from the depot. That is the way it should work. A situation where everybody will move to Ibeju, Lekki, refinery, to go and pick using trailer, tankers, or whatever, is not the ideal way. But luckily, and thank God, Dangote says in recent time that they've started moving with vessels. That is the way to go. Decentralized distribution so that IPMAN members can buy at any rate from any of the major markets as they used to buy before. And when it gets to a point they have the capacity to now do bulk purchase through the new companies they have formed, they will be able to buy. But all this has been adequately addressed in the meeting with the Mr. President and the press release that came out. He says we must put national interest at focus. Energy security, while maintaining it, should put a refinery from doing its business the proper way. All the stakeholders, be it Dangote or NNPC, must ensure that there is adequate supply of fuel to Nigerians in every part of the country. And it also says that until we have the capacity to take charge of the entire local consumption, importation can go on.
All right, but is there any policy? But is there any policy that empowers NNPCL as the sole off-takers of petrol? And I ask this question because the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation still wants to be the sole off-takers. Why should that be so? And are there extra benefits if they are the sole off-takers?
To the best of my knowledge, I believe that is no longer the situation. Don't forget, at some point in time, NNPC was the sole supplier. all this has to do with the availability of forex as at that time. And some entered into the market, Emma Deb and some other, and they pulled out. They can't survive. Now that Dangote came into the market, the initial problem that will have solved was what came up when there was noise. Does it matter who is the sole off-taker or you want to get your own supply? In my own view, I think that is no longer the situation. The situation now is that every marketer has the chance to go to Dangote to lift. But there are conditions for lifting. You must lift at a certain size. So not Ipman and Petron are not in that, they can't meet that condition for that. They are negotiating, they are discussing. But in the meantime, there must be arrangement to make sure that they can buy. That is why you heard recently that they said they went to Dangote refinery to pick from NNPC product, because NNPC, they pay to NNPC. There is a bulk purchase by NNPC from which they can. So what is their concern is pricing. If we pick from NNPC and we are to compete with retailers from NNPC retail and compete with major marketers who are collected from their own bulk purchasing company, they will not be competitive. I don't think that should be an issue. Under this arrangement of deregulation, under the PIA, two stations side by side don't have to sell at the same price. If I have my station in, let's say, Maitama, and you have your station at Lube, the cost of operation will be different. If I have my station in Victoria Island, and somebody has a station at Agege, the cost of operation is expected to be different. So there is expected to be some slight differences in the pricing. That will come with time. Nigerians will get to understand that under this arrangement, when competition sets in, some people will go for smaller margins. Some will not mind because they have the size to sell, and that will be it. So in my own case, what we have now from the marketers, let's pick Mema and Dapman, what they're saying is that they want products supplied to their depot, not a third-party depot. So when they make purchase from Dangote refinery, they want the product moved to their depot, which are all over the country, mainly along the water coastal area. You have them in Port Harcourt, you have Ogara, you have Warri, you have Calabar, you have Lagos, you have Apapa, you have Ijegun, and the rest. Now, they don't want to go to a third-party depot to load with tanker. It comes at a cost, it comes at a risk. It's not the right way to move fuel under this situation. So what is the demand from the second demand is that they want to be assured of the uptake up till 2-3 months ahead. I tell you, this is critical. Dangote should be able to assure marketers that from now till the next 3 months, let's say 2 months, December, I guarantee you, if you pay, or based on the arrangement they make, that there will be adequate supply. That will give them the confidence not to keep looking for fuel out of the country. To the Ipman people, what they want is, be it from Dangote, be it from Meman members, be it from Dapman, mostly from Dapman and NNPC. Don't forget, NNPC is also a player, like any other, like even Dangote. NNPC is also a player by the Petroleum Industrial Act. So wherever they can get this fuel, they want to get it at a price that by the time they want to sell, they will not look like Shylocks. That their price, their selling price, will be competitive. And that is why in the resolution and discussion with Mr. President and the major players that attended the meeting, the issue of pricing was also mentioned. So they are speaking the minds of the average Nigerian. We want fuel available, accessible, at the cheapest price that it can be. Got it.
All right, so I want you to help us.
This man is speaking.
I want you to help us juxtapose these two situations, because if you're looking at it from the angle of government, is it really safe for a country like Nigeria to put all its energy security in the hands of one individual? Because some experts are saying this is a cause for worry. But the president is saying we can have energy security, and the motivation for Aliko Dangote will not be defeated. I mean, it will be more predictable on a medium and long-term basis. How do we juxtapose both situations?
Yeah, I think that's one of the most important takeaway from that meeting. NNPC had always argued that they have a responsibility under the PRA and their establishment to, that's NNPCL, sorry, to ensure energy security. I think that's correct. And to ensure that is they cannot leave the entire supply to one supplier until they are confident of the capacity of that supplier to meet local consumption. So what the meeting with the president comes out with that, while you are doing that, also realize that we need to protect the local refiners who have invested. So you can make both go side by side. That is, as long as they meet the local consumption capacity, NNPC may only need to now pay more attention to what you call the storage, the 30 days storage, which will be about 1.2 billion liters over a period of 30 days. So it is possible. What I think we are, is currently going on here is lack of trust, suspicion, and the best way to describe it is the book of Jeremiah 9:23, where the Bible talks about the mighty should be wary of his might, the other should be wary of his wisdom, and the rich man should be wary of his riches. Regardless of the capacity and the strength of each of these stakeholders, they need to understand that there are different rules. An elephant in the house is the NMDPRA and the FCCPC that we are not talking about now. They are regulators as well. So we need to also strengthen the capacity of NMDPRA to do its job. And we must tell all the players in the sector to respect the authority of the regulator and to also respect the role FCCPC also has to play in this regard. When we bring all this in, all this between the major contenders, we also come down. We also need to appeal to Dangote Refinery. Work with the regulator. If there are issues of concern, the president has demonstrated the capacity that the government is behind local refinery. It is the way to go. And that's why the president said we can't go back to the way we have been doing it in the last 40 years. Like Dangote is on, we understand why he's coming. Port Harcourt Refinery may join very soon. And all these local modular refineries are doing mostly diesel and aviation fuel. Currently, we are comfortable with aviation fuel. We are comfortable with diesel. And these same marketers are buying from Dangote. There are no issues. The issue is the market style and the lack of trust and the fact that they need to respect each other. If I have invested so much in the last 20, 30 years in tank farms and the rest, billions of dollars, and a new refinery has come, supply chain mechanism management requires that you patronize them as your medium of distribution. Then when you now see the refinery putting up gantries to dispense to tankers, then trust issue comes in. So the regulator, in this case, the NMDPRA, also needs to come in between Dangote, NNPC, MEMAN, DAPMAN, and IPMAN to ensure that there is trust and there is continuous collaboration, engagement, and respect for each other, and putting the nation foremost.
But I want us to continue with this subtle tussle between oil marketers and Dangote Refinery, because we cannot talk about distribution of petroleum products without the independent marketers. And these marketers will tell you that across the 21 depot of the NNPC, 90% of the marketers licensed by the NMDPR are independent marketers. You've talked about better communication, but what other strategies would you advise for a more robust relationship between both parties so this product can get to the consumers? And I'm asking that question because IPMAN members are alleging that Aliko Dangote is avoiding them. They say the Dangote Petroleum Refinery has not engaged major stakeholders in the petroleum distribution sector. Aliko Dangote is saying he has products that can serve the nation, but these products are not being lifted, and it's costing him money. On one hand, there are allegations that some oil marketers are hoarding this product to create artificial scarcity. And the president has said all issues must be resolved without further waste of time. So in the event that Dangote is unable to sell his products, especially to domestic oil marketers, what other options do you think he has to balance his sales? Exports.
No, we are not at the stage of options. The product, that is the information I have as of today, is that marketers are lifting from Dangote refineries. Ipman is not able to lift. Dangote had come out with a defense, but I don't think that should happen. If Ipman has the authority of NNPCL to lift from the bulk purchased portion from NNPCL, Dangote should make it available. However, what we need to do, we need to focus really, is the supply chain system. A process should be put up that, how do you want to move a truck from Lagos to Sokoto? You want to move a truck from Sokoto to Yobe, when you can move the fuel to Calabar, and from Calabar you can then move to Yobe. I'm also aware that the system 2B of the pipeline is under rehabilitation contract, and maybe when that also is done, a lot of people will have to move from Ejigbo. They have to move their product from Mosimi or from Ibadan or Ilorin up to that level. Then we will start seeing a better distribution system. So it is not, in fairness to Dangote, Dangote will prefer to deal with major marketers who have the capacity to buy in bulk, rather than dealing with Ipman, Petran. However, realizing this, Ipman and Petran too had also put up structure that will allow them. But the media should not miss it. When you talk of marketers, we need to define them. There is MEMAN, major oil marketers. There is DAPMAN, depot owners. The major marketers are 11 PLC. You have Owando, you have Enyo, you have Mobile is now 11 PLC, you have Adova and the rest, the major ones. Total, Conoy. Then the DAPMAN are those who own the depot you have all over the country, along the coastline, Apapa and the rest, Emadeb, Sahara and the rest of them. They have capacity to buy in bulk and store in their storage tank. So Ipman should focus. But on buying from those guys, but when they don't have peace with Dangote business model for now, Ipman will not find it easy. And I think we need to protect the business model of the independent marketer. That is Ipman. So when we say independent marketers, we need to be careful. That is the name of Ipman, Independent Marketers Association. That is not the name of MEMAN, Major Oil Marketer. But they are all into the business of marketing. To MEMAN and DAPMAN, they will tell you Ipman is a retailer. To Ipman, he will tell you we are equal marketers. So we need to differentiate that. So in my own definition, when I say marketers here, I'm referring to MEMAN and DAPMAN. But Ipman is a major stakeholder in this regard, in the sense that they have a reach to where these major marketers don't have a reach. They are the ones we see on the road when we travel. So they also there must be a program, and that's what the president is addressing, that there must be, the product must be available to every part of the country. So we need to sit down. The model we have been using before that works when there was no scarcity. Now there should be no scarcity. If Dangote can produce 30 to 40 million liters per day, and if NNPC can keep a storage capacity of at least 1.2 billion liters stored, either onshore, offshore, or anywhere they can keep it, so that in case there is a problem with the sole supplier for down, they will be able to meet. However, from the meeting, the president is not averse to multiple supplier. So you will still see elements of importation until the local supplier is able to meet local demand and a 30-day storage to guarantee energy security. So you will still see people importing. But as of now, if the major marketers are not importing, and Dangote has not concluded arrangement to sell to Ipman, Ipman will continue to have problem. But I understand from a message released by, I see Moman recently, they said they have adequate supply. I'm sure they are referring to the amount they have brought in through the ports, because NPA2 had confirmed that there are enough cargoes coming. So Nigeria shouldn't be worried. And the media, in this case, the media has to manage this communication, not to create fear in the minds of Nigerians. And we need to go back to that presidential press statement. It is clear, and it looks like all the stakeholders involved understood the content. So we need to find a way, NPDPRA, NNPC, the major marketer must meet with Ipman and figure out how they also can be partaker in this thing. And Dangote refinery, I'm going to advise, should calm down, meet with all these stakeholders, and let's take the benefit of the labor they are putting in the last 10 years or so to put up this magnificent.
Dr. Kwaifa, let's go on a break, and when we come back, we will continue this conversation. Please stay with us, everyone. Welcome back to Politics Tonight, everyone. Thank you so much for staying with us tonight. I've been speaking with Dr. Kayode Kwaifa, Executive Director, Center for Sustainable Mobility and Access Development, and tonight we're assessing this crisis in the oil sector. Thank you so much for staying with us on the program, Dr. Kwaifa. Let's move on quickly, and I'd like to take you up on other related issues, because it's known that Nigerian crude is among the most expensive version of crude in the international market. We have the best crude in the world. Refining hours to get petrol and other byproducts will certainly impact on the final pump price of PMS. How do you think this can be managed, especially with Dangote insisting on using Nigeria's crude for his refinery, or his refining rather?
Yeah, that probably may explain the difference in the pump price, or let's say landing cost of Dangote product and the imported ones. Dangote seems to be Dangote refinery seems to be much more interested in using the Bonnet Light, which is one of the best grade. And as of today, I think it's going for like $78.60-something. While the WTI, the one you have in the US, is going for like $71.34. Now, if somebody produces, I'm not a petroleum engineer, nor am I a petroleum economist, but the little I know is that you probably have a lesser cost when you go with WTI, because that's about $6 per barrel difference. So that is an issue. However, it depends on the model the Dangote refinery is using, because they are of the highest level of technology. So if you put a dirty crude into the Dangote refining system, you come out with a clean fuel. If you put a clean fuel, you still come out with a clean fuel. So the cost of the not so clean, I mean the WTI, let me put it this way, and the Bonnet Light are not the same. So if Dangote is using Bonnet Light, you expect maybe the eventual cost may be higher. However, we should not be confused on the issue of quality. What is important here is the specification. The specification for Nigeria, is it being met if you use WTI? In my view, yes. If you use a blend, WTI and other ones, will it be met? Yes. If you use Bonnet Light, will it be met? Yes. So it is not whether one comes out in a much more much more quality than the other one. What is important is it within spec? Once your product is within spec, it is allowed. However, if we have different pump grade, octane grade, 95, 85 like you have in US and some other jurisdictions, then you can sell at premium prices. But majority of Nigerians just need fuel to power their vehicle. And those who drive the V8 and the supersonic kind of engines may start talking about quality. So I don't think the issue of quality would drive you to have a high cost of production.
But would it be fair for me? It shouldn't
be an issue in this case.
Dr. Kwaifa, would it be fair for me to assume that with the current structure that we have in the petroleum value chain in Nigeria, it is more profitable for an individual to import PMS into the country than buy from a local refiner?
I won't say that. I won't say that. I think these are issues Mr. President said they should sit down, they should look into the profit loss discussion, they should put the interest of all parties, all the three of them. Don't forget, what determines the cost, major cost we are facing now, is the forex volatility. If the value of naira to dollar comes to just hypothetically 1,000 to naira to $1, the price of the pump price will come down, because that is the major part of the cost. The cost of crude is more or less not too volatile, but our foreign forex volatility is why we have moved. And as long as it remains volatile, it will move. We will continue to have these differences in fluctuations in pricing. And Nigerians should get ready. We are no longer going to be buying fuel on a fixed price. The price can change in the morning, and by next day it will change. It may come down, it may go up, but because we are producing locally, we are assured of availability. So we will not be seeing shortage of fuel at fuel stations. Fuel will continuously be available at our fuel stations. The issue will now be at what price. Will it ever come down to where it was before? It will never come down, because we were subsidizing. And when we were not subsidizing, NNPC was doing cost recovery. Now we are fully deregulated. We will be assured now our foreign reserves will grow. If that grows up, what means is that the value of naira will improve. So there is a ripple effect. What we are going through now is temporary. That is why the president is appealing to all the stakeholders. Put the interest of the nation at heart. We cannot afford to be spending our foreign currency, foreign reserve, foreign earnings. When others are enjoying the problem in the Middle East, we are busy losing money out of it. So in my own case, it is better to refine locally. Dangote and the other local refiners will eventually be the beneficiary of this process. In addition, the nation will be a beneficiary, the ordinary Nigerian will be a beneficiary. It is the way to go. Local refining is the way to go. For 40 years, Nigeria has been struggling on this. We have wumbled and fumbled, but we thank God that finally, under this government, this is happening. And we must give kudos to all those that are, all the stakeholders deserves to be commended, for their, especially the Dangote refinery, for their tenacity and resilience to stay the course. For NNPC to stabilize the situation to the level we are. To the independent marketers, the major marketers, and all of them, for them to continue to do this business under the condition, and most importantly to Nigerians who have bared the brunt in the last 2 months when the deregulation, full deregulation.
Right, Dr. Kwefa, I wanted to speak broadly on the impact of naira for crude, but quickly, with your latest submission, does this mean that the pricing mechanism for PMS is not as straightforward as people think it is? Is it fair to say, because the sentiment out there is that oil marketers are complaining right now, or, I mean, correction, you've corrected me, the ones complaining right now are complaining because they're not going to make as much arbitrage as they make from importing, because under the Dangote framework, it's more transparent because government can monitor it. Is that the case?
No, I never said so.
Okay. No.
Sorry.
Okay.
I never
because
said
some global...
they are arbitrage here. No.
I'm saying the sentiment out there. I'm saying that's the sentiment out there. I'm not saying you said so. That's the sentiment out there. So I wanted you to put...
I think it's a wrong sentiment. It's a wrong sentiment.
Right. Okay.
It's a wrong sentiment. It is a wrong sentiment. And it is one of the misconception, miscommunication that is going on in the public media space. I've listened to so many experts, so-called experts coming. No, that's not the truth. The truth is that oil is an international product. It is a commodity. It is traded in international language. What we have been enjoying for too long was a subsidized pump price. And when that subsidy was gone on May 29, we are still adjusting to that reality. And when Dangote was to come into the market, a lot of misconception also came into the media to tell us that it will sell at 500. Some of us raised issue as early as March this year. to advise the government and all the stakeholders that they need to change the narrative in the public, that Dangote product will come at a lesser price. No, it's going to come at international price. But it may be cheaper, it may be a little bit at the same price, but there is one thing that will be assured. It will be available. 2, Nigeria will save foreign exchange. Nigeria, as a crude oil producer, will become more positive. The value of the naira will become much more stable because there will be more foreign dollars trailing our naira. Now, on the naira for crude, that is why the government does not want the international volatility of the naira to dollar to affect the pricing. That's why they say sell in naira and then buy in naira and sell in naira. If that is the case, then Dangote will have reduced, the Dangote product will not be affected too much with volatility. So I think the issue of arbitrage is about those who smuggle. Now with the price at 1,000 plus now, it is no longer interesting to smuggle. Because if it is less than 250 naira, if the price is between 250 naira between Nigeria and Benin, the arbitrage will come up. Now, there is no need for arbitrage. So the arbitrage is not by the people you are referring to. It is by those who are smuggling. Unfortunately, those who are in the oil sector are not the one to protect smuggling. It is somebody else, the security operatives. So we shouldn't start thinking that it is bad. However, the PIA envisage that when it comes on full stream, which we are almost at, there will be more transparency in pricing because it will be clear. We are producing locally, they are buying in naira, they are selling in naira. There is no need to say dollar was 1,200 last. However, the cost of crude will still be denominated in dollars in the international market. So when they are exchanging, that's why they brought in Afrexim into the case, so that to assure Nigeria that with Afrexim in this picture, there is no issue of arbitrage. It doesn't mean there was, I don't subscribe to that. I think that's not fair on the major stakeholders for the public to think so, no. And I don't think any of the marketers have raised those issues, neither has the Dangote Refineries Limited raised such a complaint of people benefiting. But in every business, there are those who benefit. And when the business model changes, you have to change. Some people will probably lose out some stuff, and some people are going to become billionaires as this process also goes on. But don't also forget, I want to conclude by saying that we need energy diversification. We cannot continue to rely on one source as supplier, and I believe government is aware of that. Then the government has also brought in the issue of CNG, so that Nigeria should now start looking towards the 2060 zero energy period, and at the same time, Nigeria should start reducing the cost of energy using petrol, especially for public transportation. And by the time we do that, that will also reduce the cost. Also, this issue of 40 million, 50 million, 55 million, it is occurring because if we consume the 40 million, let's assume, is what we are consuming, because of the difference in price of local pump price and the neighboring countries, maybe 1,700 in Cameroon, 1,400 in Ghana, 1,200 in Benin. Some Nigerians are encouraged to smuggle some of these products, and they account for the additional 15 million liters per day or so. Now, with the cost of living situation in Nigeria now, consumption has also gone down. So you also will see a situation where we are no longer at around 40 million liters. We are probably, Alhaji Dangote put it at 32. I think we are still close to 40. So I say between 30 and 40 million liters. And with improvement in our public transport system, introduction of CNG, you will see that this consumption level also will also come down.
All right, Dr. Kwefa, we're winding down, but NMDPRA is still insisting on oil licensing. I want you to speak about this and the issue of energy security.
If you look at the press statement issued by presidency, I think somewhere it says importation to end when we have capacity to meet domestic needs. So as long as we have not met domestic needs, even though Dangote Refinery Limited says they have enough, I don't think it's as simple as that. As long as people are still queuing up, at the fuel station, and the person to determine that is going to be NMDPRA. So I think importation will still continue to go on until we meet that. So the government, the statement envisaged that we'll still be doing some importation. In my view, MPC will still be doing some importation. So we can't stop NMDPRA from doing that. We have to maintain energy security. The only person that could stop them will be the president. But the PIA is clear on this. It says at what time, I think for diesel, we have gotten to almost, we are between 12 to 15 million. I understand we are almost at 15 million. That means there is no need to import diesel. So if you give license to diesel, they must have done it because there is a gap to be met. But once the local refiners meet local capacity, I believe NMDPRA will. So that's why I said we must allow the regulators to exercise their powers. And where they are going beyond their boundaries, we should raise issues with the government. And I believe in this case, from the press statement I see, I don't think the government is averse to that for now. But the statement also says, while maintaining energy security, we must, something about Dangote refinery must also be allowed. So that is to say that NMDPRA must also watch the level of licenses given out, the quantity of product brought in, to make sure that we don't create a glut that will kill the local refining interest or kill others that are interested in coming in. We must protect them, and we must act in line with what the PIA says.
All right. So you tried to talk about this earlier. So let's wrap up with this. The issue of modular refineries. How do we achieve surplus? Should modular refineries be eradicated or structured and empowered to add to Dangote refinery so we can be sure of increased supply of PMS? No. The expectation of the Petroleum Industry Act is for many players in the market so that we can be a net exporter. And that is also contained. That was also one of the conclusions. The intention of this government and Mr. President, his vision is for Nigeria to be a net exporter. So the more, the merrier. The more we also bring down the cost of production, there will be competition, and then they will compete with themselves, and Nigerians will be the better off for it. There will be more volume in the market, and we'll be able to export and earn foreign exchange. So modular refineries should be encouraged because they sell within small localities, and most of them are producing diesel oil and heavy oils. They are not producing petroleum. It's not as easy to produce petroleum. The major, we have Waterspoon, you have Aradel, you have so many of them with about 60,000 barrels per day capacity. Dangote is currently operating at about 450 barrels per day capacity, 1,000 barrels per day capacity. So the more modular refinery we have, the better. Singapore does not have crude oil. They have a lot of refineries. They produce it, they export. So I think it's just like us taking our palm oil and turn palm kernel or whatever, turn it to palm oil, turn it to palm kernel oil, bottle it up and export it and become a net exporter of the products and foreign exchange, build up our foreign reserve, make our naira powerful, and improve the cost of living of Nigerians. That should be the goal. I mean, I wish we had enough time because there's still a lot to talk about. But quickly, in less than 1 minute, the problem of smuggling, Dr. Kwefa, how can we curb it in less than 1 minute?
Like Fela used to say, these people are not they are not witches and wizards. They are human beings. We need to protect our borders. However, with deregulation gone, with deregulation in place, you will see less of smuggling. Because the price in Nigeria is, the difference in price in Nigeria to the nearest neighboring country to us is not more than 250 naira. So the arbitrage, the incentive to smuggle will be reduced. Also, by the time Dangote gets to his full capacity, Dangote will also be supplying product to many of these neighboring countries at a price that will make them do away with smuggling from Nigeria. Right. So all these are a matter of time. Then we need to call on the security agencies. They need to sit tight and make sure, because these things are passing through our borders on Okada, keke napep, small vehicles, and big tankers. Some are even going with tankers on barges to smuggle these finished products. I think we need to beef up the border. But I think that is already going down. The incentive is no longer there.
All right, then. It's important for us to continue these conversations some other time. But I must thank you so much for coming tonight. Dr. Kayode Okwefa is the Executive Director, Center for Sustainable Mobility and Access Development. Thank you so much for your perspectives on the program tonight. Thank you. Please have a great weekend.
Thank you, Jumoke. Thank you, Jumoke.
And thank you so much for watching, everyone. That's our package on politics tonight. But you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at midnight. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag politics tonight. We're also on YouTube at YouTube.